Hello. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to CrackGradeB and welcome to CAIIB MCQ session. We'll be doing MCQ for compliance culture as well as GRC framework today. We have been doing MCQs since the past 3 sessions with respect to different topics of CAIIB module D of compliance function, isn't it? So as we are discussing not only MCQs particularly, we are also understanding what those topics are, and most of the MCQs related to all those topics comprehensively you can easily get it from CrackGradeB.com. We have a huge list of different set of questions aligned with the exam pattern of CAIIB that you can get for each topic of all these CAIIB subjects. Okay, so let's start with the first session and this session with respect to compliance culture and GRC framework. And before doing MCQs, just like we always do, we try to understand the topic a little bit. So let's see what do we mean by GRC framework, particularly, especially in the banking ecosystem. So if I may ask, what do you mean by GRC? If anyone of you can tell, what is GRC in the banking ecosystem? What do you think GRC is all about? Anyone? So basically, G stands for governance. R stands for risk management. And C stands for compliance. So GRC framework is all about, how we can make sure that our governance is going on effectively, our risk management is going on effectively, as well as our compliance is going on effectively. So these are the core aspects of GRC framework. All the activities related to all these three aspects within the banking ecosystem, we try to make sure not only we identify whether these activities are being done as per the rules and regulations made by not only the board of directors but also the Reserve Bank of India, as well as the statutory laws and regulations of the country in which we are living. All those activities does comes under GRC framework. So we'll be having different kinds of modules within the GRC framework that helps us see whether all those activities are working as per desired standards or not. Okay, so this is the brief idea of GRC framework, and on the basis of that we'll try to do questions from compliance culture as well as GRC framework of this module D. So what do you think is the correct answer for this first question? What are the activities, what are the policies, procedures and practices that help and ensure that banks personnel carry out board and management directives at every business level throughout the bank? मतलब ऐसी क्या चीज़ है जिसके थ्रू एटलीस्ट हम लोग मेक श्योर कर सकते हैं that all the activities that are being done in the banking system are being done as per policies made by board and management? What do you think is the correct answer? See, basically, it's just a specific item, so that won't be there, because the idea is we just want to understand that, you know, the broad idea of what particular activity do you think जिसकी वजह से हम लोग make sure करेंगे कि ये काम ढंग से कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे हैं. First, primarily what do? Primarily you make rules and regulations and you give it to the personnel to implement those things. But how do you see, or whether whenever they are doing any deviation with respect to whatever standard that you have made, so you need to have some mechanism via which you can control them. So that's what the activities comes under. Control activities are the activities that help ensure that the bank personnel carry out board and management directives throughout different levels. Is this clear? क्योंकि बैंक ने तो अपने डायरेक्टिव्स बना दिए, बट वो डायरेक्टिव्स ढंग से हो रहे हैं कि नहीं हो रहे, दैट इज ओनली पॉसिबल by controlling them so that they do not deviate from whatever directives that the board has given. So that's what the idea of first question is. See, the control activities are the policies established to help ensure that the bank personnel carry out the board and management directives. Let's move on to the next question, which is which among the following is not one of the 5 basic rights of the customer which needs to be protected to sustain compliance culture? Is it right to fair treatment, fair and honest dealing, right to suitability, right to privacy, right to freedom of speech and expression? What do you think does not comes under, or at least the bank is not liable to provide this to customers? जब बैंक के लिए प्राइमरी फोकस इन टर्म्स ऑफ राइट इज व्हाट, which is directly related to their dealings. What do you think is the correct answer for second? 5 basic rights of customers which needs to be protected by the banking system. Any idea? Think about which right does not go well with the directly with the banking system, which is obviously right to freedom of speech and expression. ये सारी चीजें आपको बैंकिंग के जो नॉर्मल डे टू डे ऑपरेशंस है वहां पर मेक श्योर करना है. The right to privacy of, you know, getting data from the customer, right to suitability ki the product should be suitable with the customer, fair and honest dealing, obviously because you're involving in contracts, right to fair treatment, you do not discriminate amongst different set of customers. So E is the correct answer because it is not the amongst the 5 basic rights. So apart from these 4, what else is there? So right to transparency is also one of the basic rights that must be provided by the bank to the customer. And it also includes right to privacy is a very big right. It includes right to grievance redressal and compensation also. Is this clear? Any confusion? Chaliye. Now let's move on to do this question. This question you should easily do because in one of the previous sessions we've already understood different lines of defenses. So please tell, which among the following are the lines of defense against risks as per Reserve Bank of India? What do you think is the correct answer? What do you think is the correct answer? You know, we've also discussed the lines of defense. Lines of defense against compliance risk is basically, मैंने आपको बताया नहीं था कि जब आप कोई डिसीजन लेंगे तब आप सोच के लेंगे, तो ये पहला lines of defense. Then we also have systems in place that checks whether the decision taken by you उसमें standardization हो रहा है या कुछ deviation वगैरह हो रहा है, वो चीज़ है. फिर उसके बाद एक और we have system that can check whether that system which is checking your initial things, वो सही से काम कर रहा है कि नहीं कर रहा. Those 3 lines of defenses were there. तो मैंने आपके लिए सॉल्व कर दिया. इसको हटा दो आप. तो इन चारों में से बताओ what do you think is the correct answer? Yes, sir. Correct. A is the correct answer. 1, 2, 3. Business functions, risk management, compliance and internal audit. यही मैंने पहले बताया था. पहले board of directors business के हिसाब से सोचेंगे. Then we have risk management structures in place that will take care कि board का काम standard तरीके से हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा, compliance में हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा. Then we have internal audit and compliance that will make sure that the risk management structure is making sure that all these things are happening in compliance or not. So 1, 2, 3 is the 3 lines of defenses based on risk-based supervision. Now let's move on to the next question. At the functional department level, the duties of compliance officer is carried out by which among the following? What do you think is the correct answer? Compliance का भी framework है हमारे पास. At the top we have chief compliance officer and then further down the load. What do you think at the functional department level who is handling the compliance? Simple सा है, the senior officer designated in the department. ठीक है, simple सा question. Senior officer designated in the department will be focusing on making sure that the duties, the compliance is being followed in a timely fashion or not. I hope this is clear. Top पर तो chief compliance है, ठीक है. At the second level is senior officer designated in the department. चलिए. Next is the frontline unit in the compliance hierarchy is what? Do very clearly and very cautiously answer this question क्योंकि frontline मतलब इस तरीके से आप देखिए, वॉर के समय you have infantry division at the front, ठीक है. फिर you have cavalry over here, घुड़सवारी. You have king at the end and then further different troops. These are your front line. मतलब जो कांटेक्ट में सबसे पहले है. Now try and do this question. Now you will be able to better do this question if you understand the concept of front line. Fifth, anyone? मतलब इनमें से कौन से एंटिटी है जो कस्टमर से डायरेक्टली या प्राइमरीली और इन द प्रायोरिटी दे विल बी इंटरैक्टिंग? वेरी गुड सर, वेरी गुड. द ब्रांच. ठीक है. तो द ब्रांच इज योर फ्रंट लाइन यूनिट इन कंप्लायंस हायरार्की. सबसे पहले इनको ध्यान देना है, हर एक ब्रांच हो जाए, देन हेड ऑफिस एंड देन further. At the branch level, the most important hurdle in being compliant is what? What do you think? इसमें you can also use elimination methods as well. कि ब्रांच लेवल पर सबसे बड़ी दिक्कत क्या रहती है कंप्लायंस फॉलो ना करने की? Sixth, what do you think is the correct answer for that? See, the main thing is लैक ऑफ अवेयरनेस का तो कोई सेंस ही नहीं है, लेड बैक एटीट्यूड का भी सेंस नहीं है, अच्छे वर्कर्स भी ऑल्सो हैव, लैक ऑफ कोऑर्डिनेशन इज ऑल्सो नॉट देयर, हाई वर्कलोड, ऑपरेशनल प्रेशर, नो. द मेन थिंग इज कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, क्योंकि आप उन सारी चीज़ों से डील कर रहे हो. फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपके किसी नोन को आपने लोन देना है, आपने उसमें डीलिंग ढंग से नहीं करी, तो ऑल दोज थिंग्स आर देयर. हाई वर्कलोड एंड ऑपरेशनल प्रेशर, तो आई अंडरस्टैंड कि दैट इज एन इशू, बट बहुत सारी ब्रांचेस ऐसी है जहां पर ये नहीं है, तो वहां पर आप कैसे बोलोगे? टेल मी, which of the following is not correct with regards to compliance function, which is one of the key elements in the bank's corporate governance structure? What do you think is the correct answer? Which among the following statement is not correct? Or which among the following statement is not correct as per RBI regulation? So conflict of interest basically in terms of professional duties versus personal duties. Whenever we deal in context of professional setting, तो बस conflict of interest जब हम लोग बात करते हैं तो इसी context में करते हैं, between professional and personal. Similarly, conflict of interest when we deal in terms of administrative officers, या फिर जब IAS वाईएएस की एग्जाम्स में भी conflict of interest की बात होती है, तो we normally focus on your issues with respect to different interests, whether it's professional versus personal. That is the most primary aspect. Let's try to do this question. Which of the following is not correct with regards to compliance function? Which among the following is not one of the key elements? Corporate governance structure. So you're saying D. So if compliance function is not the core risk management, तो फिर उसको क्या बोलेंगे? See, the correct answer is E, because such corporate governance structure you cannot outsource. You have to do it in house. आउटसोर्स कैसे कर दोगे कि बाहर का कोई आके आपका ये सारा काम करके दे कि आप कंप्लायंस पूरे अच्छे से कर रहे हो कि नहीं कर रहे हो, है ना? सो दैट डज नॉट मेक सेंस. इन हाउस इज योर core governance, corporate governance structure is. So that is what the correct answer for 7th. Okay, so these are the 5 key elements within the bank's corporate governance structure that should be independent, responsibilities clearly defined, activities shall be subject to periodic independent review, whether you do it by internal audit or by a statutory auditors or external auditors. Compliance function shall be regarded as core risk management activity. Very much important. GRC, governance, risk, compliance, all these things are core activities which bank needs to do. नहीं करेंगे तो regulatory, risk है, penalty लग जाएगी, and it shall not be outsourced. बाहर का थोड़े कोई करके देगा. So that's what are the 5 key elements. और इसको इसी तरीके से आप क्रैम करके चलिए, because if the question IBPS or the CAIIB, if it will come, they'll be giving you amongst these 4 options, they'll be changing some options, okay, and then they can ask you the question. Next question. What type of risk is defined as the risk of loss resulting from inadequate or failed internal processes, people as well as systems? तो बेसिकली इन हाउस का मतलब वही सेम चीज है ना, कि ऑल दोज 3 लाइन्स ऑफ डिफेंसेस दैट आई हैव टॉक्ड टू यू ना, सारी चीजें वहीं आ जाती हैं. व्हेनेवर अ बिजनेस or whenever the board of directors are taking any decision or making any policy, that policy should be in compliance with your corporate governance, for example, Companies Act, as well as RBI Regulations Act. Then your risk management mechanisms should be able to do it. And lastly, internal audit, risk-based internal audit should be. All these three things are in-house only. They are not being outsourced. बोर्ड को बाहर का तो है नहीं. रिस्क बेस्ड मैकेनिज्म आप कंपनी के अंदर ही रखोगे. सिमिलरली हेड ऑफ इंटरनल ऑडिट और इंटरनल ऑडिट मैकेनिज्म इज आल्सो विद इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इज. चलिए, व्हाट डू यू थिंक इज द करेक्ट आंसर फॉर क्वेश्चन नंबर 8? Which risk is defined as the risk of loss resulting from inadequate or failed internal processes, people and systems? See, the correct answer for this is operational risk. Okay? Operational risk, I've already told you, basically जितने भी कंपनी के कोर प्रोसेसेस होते हैं ना, by which they do business, ठीक है, all these, उसमें अगर कोई इशू आ रहा है because of any reason, that is your operational risk. Next question, which risk is defined as the probability of loss that remains to systems that store, process or transmit information after security measures or controls have been implemented? Easy question, you can do it. Even after security measures or controls have been implemented, what risk is defined as probability of loss that remains within the systems? ठीक है, इसमें आपसे साफ बोला हुआ कि सिस्टम्स के अंदर जो इशू है उसको आप क्या बोलोगे? Systems is the key word. That despite all those security measures, there is some probability of loss because of that system. So what do you think is that risk? So the correct answer is residual risk. ठीक है, ये सारे काम कर लिए उसके बाद भी कुछ बच गया, that is what you call residual risk. ठीक है, very good. Very good, sure. Next question. What type of risk is the risk to a company in the absence of any security control or actions that might taken to alter, migrate, mitigate or reduce either the likelihood or impact of a data loss? मतलब कोई security नहीं है, तो उस केस में what type of risk they are being exposed to? What do you think is the correct answer? So here the correct answer is inherent risk. Okay, if you do not have any security system, which if it would have been there could have protected you from all those risks, then you are suffering from inherent risk. Next question. Dash is defined to include credit risk inherent in the market that may lead to losses when counterparties fail to meet their obligations. Which risk includes such kind of aspect? See, the answer is within the question itself. If you see clearly, you will be able to solve the question. Read the question again, then you will be able to solve this question. Which is defined to include credit risk inherent in market transactions that may lead to losses when the counterparties fail? The control system तो तब है जब आपके basic systems भी already installed हैं and then you see whether those basic systems are performing as per standards or not. हम तो basic system की ही बात कर रहे हैं, अभी तो basic system ही नहीं लगा है. Until unless you install those basic systems and then you move towards control systems. So that's why it's called inherent risk and not control risk. And in this case, the answer is market risk. Okay, so market risk not only include your price fluctuation risks, but also includes credit risk inherent in market transactions. For example, कोई bond है, bond holder ने नहीं दिए पैसे, तो वो भी risk है. Price ऊपर नीचे हो रहा है तो वो भी risk है. So all those things are there. चलिए, next is what is inherent in the computer systems and losses as well as damages owing to malfunctions and unethical conduct. What do you think is the correct answer over here? Simple सा correct answer is systems risks. Okay. Next question, a very important question. What compliance risk score can be attributed to compliance risk level of meets requirement? You know, there are different types of compliance risk score. We have meet requirement, it requires further improvement. All those levels are there. So meet requirement level ka compliance score is what? What do you think is the correct answer? And this is the last question for today. Try and do this. What do you think is the correct answer? So yeah, the correct answer here is D, 3.125. Let's see it's stable also. Stable is very much important. So the compliance risk score can be assessed on a scale of 1 to 10. So first of all, you need to remember this scale 1 to 10. And then we also need to see the classification. 4 category classification is there. 1 to 3, 3.1 to 5, 5.1 to 7, 7.1 to 10. 3 का difference 2, 2, 3. ठीक है, इस तरीके से difference है. Well controlled, that means the lower is your compliance risk score, the very well is your controlled environment. Simple सी बात है, compliance risk अगर आपका score ज़्यादा होगा तो आपका risk ज़्यादा है. That means your systems are not controlled, they need significant improvement. और आपका risk score एकदम कम है, that means your systems are well controlled. और फिर बीच वाले क्या है, meets requirement, needs improvement. ठीक है, well controlled, meets requirement, need improvement, need significant improvement. You learn it accordingly. Yes, here also 2, 2, 2, 3. ठीक है, चलिए. So this is all for today, and rest of the questions related to this topic you can find it within the course of CAIIB, okay, that you can access from CrackGradeB.com. And we'll meet in the next session with some different topic, and we'll do some questions related to that topic also. So thank you all for joining. We'll meet in the next session. Thank you.